Dozen films. My God, I didn't know that.
I didn't either
That's
until
a
you
lot
said
of-
it, and I almost
lot-
had a heart attack,
A
Vic.
lot of pictures.
Didn't realize it, yeah.
I often asked even friends of mine, and you're certainly a friend of
Everyone knows Jack Lemmon as the actor whose smile could light up a room, but few realize that his life began in a situation both dramatic and oddly comedic. On February 8, 1925, his mother went into labor 2 months early, yet she delayed going to the hospital because she didn't want to miss a competitive bridge game. By the time she finally left, her husband and she rushed to Newton Wellesley Hospital, but fate intervened. The hospital elevator got stuck between the 5th and 6th floors, and that's where Jack entered the world. He was small, premature, and his jaundiced skin startled a nurse so much that she exclaimed, "Look at that yellow lemon!" The nickname stuck immediately, and Jack would carry it with him throughout his life, shaping both his identity and his public persona. That odd, unexpected birth foreshadowed the unpredictable life ahead, a life where humor and charm would meet struggle and adversity at every turn. Even from the very beginning, Jack's story was a mix of tragedy and comedy, of obstacles and charm, hinting that the laughter he would later give millions was born from necessity, not just talent. Jack's early family life was complex, filled with quiet tension that left its mark on him. His mother chose hotel living over returning home, leaving Jack to navigate a fractured household where his parents slept in separate rooms and lived in different worlds under the same roof. His father's frequent business trips created more distance, and Jack learned to move carefully through this invisible minefield of emotions. From a young age, he believed that his own happiness could act as glue, keeping the family together. He became hyper-aware of moods, silences, and undercurrents, understanding that his smile could diffuse tension or distract from conflict. Humor wasn't just a talent, it was a survival tool. He performed for guests, created small routines, and mastered the art of timing before he even reached double digits. This early training would become the foundation of his acting career, blending emotional intelligence with comic instincts. Every laugh he drew was not just entertainment, it was a way to manage life's fragile, chaotic moments. By the age of 7, Jack had already begun performing for family and friends. He created elaborate routines, including a series of 25 different snores, each sillier than the last, simply to make people laugh. Every gesture, every little performance was a deliberate effort to soothe tension at home, to bring light to spaces that often felt heavy. Humor became both his shield and his purpose. Behind the antics, he carried an understanding that sadness could be dangerous and that laughter was a lifeline. Each joke was an early rehearsal for the stage and screen, teaching him how to hold an audience's attention, how to navigate timing, and how to make people forget, or at least soften, the weight of reality. This performance instinct was born out of necessity, not vanity. It was a skill shaped by both emotional survival and innate talent, one that would later propel him into Hollywood stardom. Jack's childhood was marked not only by emotional strain, but also by serious health challenges. Before turning 12, he had spent nearly 2 full years in hospitals and endured 3 major ear surgeries, leaving him with long periods of immobility. These extended stays affected his posture, giving him a slouched stance that would later become a signature part of his on-screen persona. But Jack was resilient. Despite pain and isolation, he threw himself into physical activity, running fast enough to break the New England 2-mile record as a teenager. Even as his body healed, his mind trained in discipline, perseverance, and focus. Those long hours in hospital beds were quietly formative, teaching him patience, self-reliance, and an early understanding of the difference between external cheer and internal struggle. The boy who seemed outwardly cheerful was building the tools he would later rely on to navigate the pressures of fame, comedy, and dramatic roles. Jack described himself later as pathologically happy, a child who forced cheerfulness to keep everyone else stable. He believed that his happiness could prevent sadness from overtaking his parents or his home, carrying a responsibility that no child should have to bear. This mindset followed him into adulthood. shaping the public persona he would craft on screen. The smile that audiences loved wasn't just charm. It was a learned, deliberate defense, a survival mechanism that balanced emotional weight with humor. Laughter became his currency, allowing him to connect with others while masking his own struggles. Even his friends later noted that Jack's joy was often a performance, yet it never felt fake. Instead, it was an intricate balancing act, bringing happiness outward while wrestling with private tension, a duality that would define not just his childhood but his legendary career. At 18, Jack Lemmon stepped into a world that demanded both discipline and creativity. He joined Harvard's V-12 Navy College Training Program, a rigorous initiative designed to transform college students into officers during World War II. Days were filled with drills, engineering classes, and military strategy. Nights, however, he found ways to keep performing. Acting was his lifeline. He joined the Hasty Pudding Club, became its president, and even used pseudonyms like Timothy Orange to continue appearing on stage without academic consequences. Amidst uniformed rigidity and strict schedules, Jack learned balance, timing, and focus, skills that would later define his on-screen presence. The Navy program pushed him physically and mentally, yet he thrived. Every lecture, every formation, every stage performance trained him to respond under pressure, to blend preparation with improvisation. In that crucible, he discovered a combination of discipline, charm, and wit that would propel him from Harvard classrooms to Hollywood spotlights, a young man learning to navigate worlds of expectation, authority, and personal expression. Jack's academic training soon gave way to the harsh realities of war. Commissioned as an ensign, he served aboard the USS Lake Champlain in the Pacific. From the deck, he observed history unfold. Okinawa, late stages of the Pacific Campaign, planes roaring overhead, messages flying between ships. He coordinated pilots and handled classified communications, absorbing responsibility far beyond his years. The war taught him patience under pressure, the importance of subtle observation, and the power of quiet leadership. Jack later reflected that those months aboard the ship shaped his understanding of timing and restraint, qualities that translated perfectly to his acting. He learned to measure emotion, to react naturally in high-stakes situations, and to maintain composure under scrutiny. Though brief, his Navy service left a lasting mark, giving him a grounded perspective on risk, duty, and the fragility of life. Lessons he would carry silently into a career defined by humor and understated depth. In 1953, Jack Lemmon made his Broadway debut in Room Service, a short-lived revival at the Court Theater. The show closed after just 16 days, a setback that might have discouraged a lesser performer, but Jack's spark did not go unnoticed. Max Arno, a casting director for Columbia Pictures, saw a raw brilliance in his performance, the kind of timing, vulnerability, and energy that couldn't be taught. Arno took Jack's name straight to Harry Cohn, the head of Columbia, who wanted to sign him immediately. Even then, the studio tried to change his name to Lennon, but Jack refused, quipping that it sounded too close to the communist leader, saving his identity and humor in one stroke. That brief Broadway experience, though seemingly minor, became a pivotal doorway. It taught him resilience, the value of subtlety, and the power of making the most out of every opportunity. What felt like failure on stage became a launchpad for a Hollywood career, a reminder that talent paired with timing can create destiny. By 1954, Jack Lemmon transitioned to film with It Should Happen to You, starring opposite Judy Holliday. The role wasn't flashy, but it showcased his natural ease in front of the camera, the same ability to read an audience he had honed performing for family and on stage. Columbia signed him to an unusual 7-year contract that allowed outside projects, a rare show of faith from the studio. Jack's early screen performances blended humor with authenticity, a quiet charm that distinguished him from more flamboyant actors. Audiences felt his sincerity and timing instinctively, even if they didn't know his history of childhood hardship. In those first films, Jack began crafting the duality that would define him, a seemingly effortless comedy presence underpinned by emotional intelligence, timing, and depth. Hollywood was beginning to notice, and Jack Lemmon was poised to turn promise into stardom. Jack's breakthrough arrived in 1955 with Mr. Roberts, where he played Ensign Pulver alongside giants like Henry Fonda and James Cagney. Surrounded by established stars, he held his own, blending humor, vulnerability, and subtle emotional nuance. The Academy, perhaps surprised by the depth beneath his comedic timing, awarded him the Best Supporting Actor Oscar in 1956, beating expectations and even Marlon Brando. The moment was transformative, elevating him from rising talent to a recognized force in Hollywood. His acceptance speech was modest, reflecting his humble approach, yet the award marked a dramatic shift in his career trajectory. Jack Lemmon had proven he could excel under scrutiny, command attention without dominating the stage, and infuse comedy with profound humanity. It was a triumph of skill, resilience, and timing, setting the stage for decades of iconic performances. By 1957, Jack Lemmon was already proving that he was more than just a funny face. In Operation Mad Ball, a military farce set during post-war chaos, Jack brought energy, improvisation, and timing that made the cast and audiences laugh without effort. But what many didn't know was that he was also a talented musician, a skill shaped by childhood solitude and hospital stays. Jack would often play piano between takes, creating moments of levity that lifted everyone on set. That blend of humor and artistry became his signature, laughter rooted in intelligence, charm, and subtle depth. He was proving that comedy could carry emotional layers and audiences responded. And speaking of audiences, if you're enjoying Jack's story, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and comment below. Which moment of Jack's early career shocked you the most? Because his journey was full of surprises, and the story was only getting started. Jack's career wasn't just about comedy. In Fire Down Below, he traveled to the Caribbean, stepping into a role that demanded danger, improvisation, and emotional intensity. He played Felix, a tramp boat owner entangled in a smuggling ring, and even wrote and performed his own harmonica theme for the film. The production pushed him physically and emotionally. He endured a dangerous stunt trapped under a girder during a burning ship scene. Yet his humor, charm, and calmness never wavered, allowing him to shine even among Hollywood heavyweights like Rita Hayworth and Robert Mitchum. This role hinted at a dramatic range that audiences hadn't fully seen yet, proving that Jack could seamlessly blend suspense, intensity, and comedy without losing authenticity. The film became a stepping stone toward his more daring, risk-filled performances. 1959's Some Like It, Hot marked a turning point. Jack and Tony Curtis had to disguise themselves as women to escape gangsters, a risky concept for the era. The film faced censorship battles, yet Jack's effortless timing and bold choices carried it through. His delivery of the now famous line, "Nobody's perfect," was casual, unplanned, and became one of cinema's most quoted lines. The film grossed over $25 million worldwide and earned 6 Oscar nominations, including one for Jack himself. Behind the laughter, he demonstrated instinctive understanding of human behavior, nuance, and subtlety. He was not just performing comedy, he was shaping culture. Jack's ability to merge humor with social daring set a new standard for film, showing that lightheartedness could coexist with intelligence, commentary, and boldness. Jack's versatility became clearer in the late 1950s. In Jane, he played George Denning, a small-town lawyer defending a community against corporate overreach, delivering warmth and relatability that audiences embraced. Then, in Cowboy, he transformed into Frank Harris, a hotel clerk thrust into the grueling reality of a cattle drive, balancing nervous charm with quiet strength. Both roles highlighted Jack's rare ability to move between genres, comedy, drama, and romance, with authenticity. Critics noticed his subtle, emotional range, while audiences loved his accessibility. These performances cemented him as an actor capable of blending charm with vulnerability, humor with seriousness, and wit with emotional resonance, qualities that would define his legendary career for decades. In 1958's Bell, Book and Candle, Jack paired with Kim Novak in a whimsical fantasy about witches, romance, and unexpected love. Playing writer Nikki Holroyd, he delivered humor, charm, and heartfelt vulnerability, balancing Novak's enigmatic presence with ease. The $1.44 million film eventually became a holiday classic and earned Jack a BAFTA nomination. Beyond box office numbers, the movie showed how he could embody warmth and subtle emotional depth while maintaining comedic timing. The film blended fantasy, charm, and romance, demonstrating Jack's unique ability to make the unbelievable feel genuine. By this point, he had become a master of nuance, able to carry audiences through laughter, intrigue, and heartache all in the same scene. In 1960, Jack Lemmon stepped into what would become one of his most iconic roles, C.C. Baxter in The Apartment. The story of a lonely office worker who lent his apartment to executives for their affairs could have been cynical, but Jack infused it with vulnerability, warmth, and understated humor. Every glance, pause, and reaction revealed a man struggling to maintain dignity while navigating moral compromise. The film, with a $3 million budget, grossed nearly $25 million worldwide and earned 10 Oscar nominations, winning 5, including Best Picture and Best Director. Jack himself received another Oscar nod. Behind the scenes, the role mirrored his own life in subtle ways: personal strain, responsibility, and the effort to keep a cheerful exterior despite inner turmoil. Audiences connected to Baxter's quiet desperation, laughter punctuated by heartache, and Jack proved he could deliver depth that transcended comedy. This film cemented his reputation as a performer who could carry emotional complexity with charm and relatability. By 1962, Jack Lemmon tackled one of the most challenging roles of his career: Joe Clay in Days of Wine and Roses. The film depicted the descent of a charismatic executive into alcoholism, a struggle Jack intimately understood, having faced his own battles with alcohol. His performance was painfully authentic, blending charm, desperation, and self-destruction in a way few actors could manage. Director Blake Edwards, also confronting personal challenges, guided Jack to bring raw truth to the screen. The result was a performance that earned critical acclaim and a 3rd Oscar nomination. Audiences felt the stakes in every scene, from Joe's initial charm to his unraveling, understanding both the humor and heartbreak of human fragility. Jack's ability to turn private pain into art elevated his work, showing that his early pathological happiness was not just survival, it was preparation for roles demanding empathy, honesty, and courage. In 1962, Jack returned to comedy with The Notorious Landlady, reuniting with Kim Novak in a mystery-laden story of suspicion, romance, and intrigue. Though critics found the script uneven, Jack's performance carried the film with his usual mix of charm and subtle tension. Meanwhile, his personal life was evolving. His first marriage to Cynthia Stone had ended in divorce, leaving him to raise their son, Chris, while focusing on his career. In August 1962, he married Felicia Farr, gaining both a life partner and a steadying presence amid Hollywood's chaos. She helped him navigate personal struggles, especially alcoholism, and together they built a family, eventually welcoming daughter Courtney in 1966. Felicia's support allowed Jack to approach complex roles with renewed focus, blending personal growth with artistic achievement. Even as fame increased, Jack's grounding in family and resilience shaped the choices he made on screen and off. 1966's The Fortune Cookie paired Jack with Walter Matthau for the first time, sparking a partnership that would span decades. Jack played Henry Hinkle, a cameraman roped into a faked injury scheme, while Matthau portrayed the scheming lawyer. Their chemistry was electric, both on and off screen. Matthau won an Oscar for the role, but the friendship they formed became one of Jack's greatest personal and professional joys. Their wives bonded, their humor aligned, and they became collaborators across 10 films. Meanwhile, Jack's own work showcased his ability to merge comedy with ethical dilemmas. timing with subtle moral insight. The fortune cookie was more than a commercial success. It marked the beginning of a creative alliance that brought balance, trust, and friendship into Jack's life, giving him stability amid personal struggles. Later in 1963, Jack tackled Irma la Douce, a daring role that required charm, physical comedy, and complex timing. Playing Nestor Patou, a policeman who falls for Shirley MacLaine's character, he navigated disguises, schemes, and personal risk. To sustain the ruse on screen, Jack even worked late-night shifts at a market, borrowing money and improvising solutions to maintain authenticity. His dedication mirrored his life: persistence, resilience, and attention to detail, even under pressure. The role earned him a Golden Globe nomination and showcased his ability to balance humor, romance, and tension seamlessly. At this point in his career, Jack had mastered the art of turning personal challenges, stress, moral complexity, and emotional labor into performances that felt effortless, connecting audiences to both laughter and heart in equal measure. By the mid-1970s, Jack Lemmon's career took a turn toward roles that mirrored life's harsh realities. In The Prisoner of Second Avenue, 1975, he played Mel Edison, a man crushed under city chaos, job loss, and daily frustrations. The script, drawn from Neil Simon's experiences, demanded a delicate balance of bitter humor and palpable despair. Jack delivered every line with sharp timing, drawing laughter while revealing human vulnerability. His dedication was so intense that he injured himself on set but continued filming, showing his commitment to authenticity. Off-screen, he struggled with personal issues, including alcoholism and the pressures of aging in Hollywood. Yet these challenges seemed to fuel his performances, adding depth that audiences felt instinctively. Here, Jack proved that comedy and tragedy were not opposites. They were two sides of the same coin, and he was a master of both. In 1979, Jack starred in The China Syndrome, portraying nuclear engineer Jack Goddell uncovering a plant's deadly secrets. The film's timing was eerily prescient, releasing shortly before the real-life 3 Mile Island incident. Jack's portrayal of ethical struggle, fear, and moral courage earned him another Oscar nomination. Behind the scenes, his personal life remained complex. Past health issues, bouts with alcohol, and family responsibilities created tension he often channeled into his roles. Every glance, hesitation, and reaction on screen carried his lived experience, making the danger feel immediate and real. The performance reminded audiences that Jack's craft was rooted in observation, empathy, and the ability to translate personal struggle into compelling storytelling. It also reaffirmed his ability to take risks, both in selecting challenging material and in his emotional commitment to every character. Even as Jack aged, his work remained exceptional. In 1978, he returned to Broadway, earning a Tony nomination for a tribute performance. 2 years later, he reprised The Odd Couple for film, blending comedy with maturity and depth that resonated with audiences. He continued exploring serious roles, including Missing, 1982, portraying Ed Horman, a father searching for his son lost during the Chilean coup. The performance was emotionally intense, connecting deeply with viewers and earning critical acclaim. These years demonstrated that Jack's talent was not confined to youth or early stardom. It matured with experience, carrying emotional nuance, comedic timing, and authenticity into each project. He proved that age could enhance performance, bringing life experience to roles that demanded humanity, intelligence, and heart. In the 1990s, Jack experienced a renaissance, delivering memorable performances in Glengarry Glen Ross, 1992, as Shelley Levine, and reuniting with Walter Matthau in Grumpy Old Men, 1993, and Grumpier Old Men, 1994. Even at 67, his craft remained sharp, blending desperation, charm, and wit. Yet, behind the camera, he faced declining health. Diagnosed with bladder and later colon cancer, Jack battled illness privately while continuing to perform at the highest level. His professionalism, resilience, and dedication inspired colleagues and audiences alike. Personal milestones, such as witnessing his children face serious challenges, reminded him that life's stakes extended far beyond Hollywood. Yet, through struggle and triumph, he retained the warmth, humor, and insight that made him a beloved figure worldwide. Jack Lemmon passed away on June 27, 2001, at age 76, leaving behind a career spanning nearly 50 years. His legacy is remarkable. Iconic films, unforgettable comedic timing, profound dramatic work, and the ability to turn personal struggle into universal stories. From a child forcing laughter to keep his family together, to a mature actor channeling life's complexities into his craft, Jack's journey illustrates resilience, versatility, and humanity. Awards, nominations, and critical acclaim are only part of the story. It's the connection he made with audiences, the laughter, the tears, the relatability that endures. His performances remain studied and celebrated, a reminder that humor and heart can coexist, that vulnerability is strength, and that one smile, even born from hardship, can light up the world.